Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. Very excited to try this bottle. This is brand spanking new from Eastern Kille. This is a distillery I've talked about on the channel several times. In my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, distillery in Michigan. And there's some decent distilleries in Michigan, so I feel like that's pretty high praise. But Eastern Kille, they're the ones I told you about a while ago. They were originally called Gray Skies, but then Grey Goose decided to sue them because they had the word gray in their name. So they had to change their name to Eastern Kille. And they have this sort of vibe with their bottling of topography of some of the Great Lakes and stuff like that, which is a really cool effect on the bottle, and the branding I think is pretty clean. But this, you might be noticing the color on this. It's like, I don't know, it's like the cherry cola color. It's kind of got a reddish auburn sort of a tint to it. It matches my shirt. But this is like a very limited edition single barrel cognac barrel finished Michigan straight bourbon. I know, it's a mouthful. So cognac finished Michigan straight bourbon, not age stated, so it's got to be at least 4 years old. It's at 100 proof, and one of the things I like about this bottle right out of the gate is that it's a cognac finish, but it's not like $100, 80 bucks. It's 60 bucks. And I already know that I like their juice, so I feel fairly confident this is probably going to be at least decent. But I'm excited to dive into it with you and see what we think about it. So they released this alongside another limited release bottle as well, which is their vermouth finished bourbon, which I think sounds super interesting. I would totally be down to try that. I actually think a vermouth finish would probably go really well on a rye, and they have a really good rye, so I feel like maybe they should try that sometime. Maybe they already have, I don't know. But here we go. Let's try it. So Eastern Kille was, they were on that list of distilleries I said in that video to keep an eye on, right? I did a video not too long ago. I was like, distilleries you should keep an eye on. And they made the list. I mean, right off the nose, it smells like their bourbon. I mean, I'm very accustomed to their bourbon and the profile that it offers. Sort of a crisp, clean vibe to it. A sort of a saltwater taffy sweetness on the nose. But now I'm also getting that stemmy grape as well. Like a bowl of grapes that's been sitting out for days. It's got a little bit of dust on them. You know what I mean. I do wine tasting sometimes with my wife up in Traverse City. She loves it up there. And I'm no wino or anything, but I enjoy it. And the nose of this reminds me of some of those winery tasting rooms too. Yeah, very fruit forward. Yeah, very pleasant nose. Let's try it, huh? I know it's cognac, but I almost get on the front end of that palate is so grapey. It makes me think of like a Cabernet or something right on the very front end of that palate. And then as it progresses through that, you get that saltwater taffy sweetness, and then the finish is like a whole lot of a little bit of spicy to it as well. A little bit of spicy oak, which is a great balance to offset the fruitiness up front and that spicy oak on the tail end. It actually drinks maybe 110 proof, not 100 proof. I think of even grape Kool-Aid up front. Man, they were not bashful with that cognac finish at all. Not a lot of those deep, darker, richer flavors that you get off a lot of cognac finished stuff. This is brighter, really fruit forward. I'm not getting any leather or tobacco notes. It's all crisp, peppery, bright, and fruity. If I can nitpick one thing, I think that would be, I think just a little bit of base. Maybe even just some more caramely notes on the bottom end to sort of hold everything up. It's sort of like a top-heavy sip, you know what I mean? It's delicious, don't get me wrong, but if I can nitpick one thing, that'd be just a little bit of base to it to help support it all. But otherwise, that is quite a tasty sip. I like that quite a bit. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy having that bottle around. Yes. So if I were to give that a score per my scale, I think I would fall, I'm just going to say a flat 7. Just a 7.0. Right there on that border. I think it's absolutely delicious, that bright fruity, a little bit of that peppery oak as well to offset the sweetness. But I would like just a little bit more base in there too, just to hold things up a little bit more. But otherwise, that's very tasty. I'm happy to have picked this up, especially for, it was $58.99 or something like that. That's a solid sip at that price point, especially to get something with so much character to it. That cognac finish at that price point is, it's a bit of a no-brainer for me. No regrets. Let me know if you've managed to get your hands on eating any Eastern Kille products. I know I've talked about them a little bit on the channel, so I don't know where all they distribute to these days. So let me know if you can get your hands on any of their stuff where you are. But they've got a great lineup, a great core lineup. They got the straight bourbon, the straight rye, and then they've got the the bottled and bond. I would say is probably the best. If you're gonna try something out for the first time of theirs, just get the bottled and bond bourbon. It's great. And then they've even started doing like barrel strength offerings of their bourbon as well, and the breakfast rye. But I would say those are the two that I would say are the first ones to try. Would be the Bottle and Bond and the breakfast rye. But this is delicious. I'm glad to have it. All right, thank you so much for tuning into the video. I really appreciate everybody and the support on the channel. We passed 4,000 subs. That's pretty cool. I really appreciate that. So thank you if you are one of them. If you're not one of them and you've been to the channel a few times, hey, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button and leave a like, as it's the best free way to support the content here on YouTube. Otherwise, feel free to get in our Discord. We like to hang out and chat with one another, swap stories, share pictures of the bottles we find, all that stuff. Totally free. Links in the description. And a big shout out to my Patreon supporters who help fund these bottles that I get to pick up and review. It's all because of you. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to get involved in that, link as well in the description. You can join for as little as $1 a month. But cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age. Be warm and well fed. Hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.